And welcome back to another edition of Maddie's Rap, the show where we rap about things that guys rap about when we're hanging out. Today's going to be a scripture edition of Maddie's Rap, and I'm your host, author Matt D. Talford, author of two amazing and award-winning books, From Fear to Faith, A Survivor Story, a story which will teach you how mindset can help you to overcome the absolute worst of circumstances. And then there's the wildly popular Stuck in an Elevator, a tale of passion and self-discovery that takes place high above the Los Angeles skyline. Now, in today's scripture edition of Maddie's Rap, and this one, I promise you guys, this one's going to be a quick one today. I know every time I say quick, you guys that have been following me for a while, you know that when I say it's going to be a quick one, it just never is. So, oh, and speaking of guys, those of you who've been following me for a while, I want to say a special thank you to my returning subscribers. Thank you for rocking out with me. It's been 2 years since we started Maddie's Rap. We're still going strong, and I couldn't have done it without you guys and all of your support, all of the comments under the videos, the feedback that you guys give me in Instagram Messenger. And speaking of which, my Instagram is at Matt D. Talford. You can follow me over there for some short inspirational nuggets and just to catch me in whatever type of mood I'm in on the day that I post those. Again, on Instagram, you can follow me at Matt D. Talford. And for those of you who are new to the channel, hopefully you like my content. Not just today, but scroll through my channel and look at some of the other videos I've posted over the last couple of years. If you like it, please consider hitting the subscribe button. And if you hit that subscribe button, be sure to slide that turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified when I upload new content. It's been a long week, y'all. We're gonna get through this quick, okay? All right. So today's lesson is going to be the importance of staying the course and how watching your words can help you to stay the course. Now, without further ado, I'm going to set this up for you. Our example or our point of reference today is going to be one of my favorite biblical characters. One of my favorite characters, I shouldn't say character, one of my favorite scriptural personalities, the Messiah himself, all right? In today's example, we're going to show you what his frame of mind was and what his mindset was as he was coming upon the eve of being captured and being ready to be delivered up for what he came to this earth to do, which was to basically give it up for those he loved, give it up for Israel. He said, I am come but for the lost sheep of Israel. And this was time where he had to fulfill his contract, all right? Those of you who've been watching me for a while, you know that I do believe in soul contracts. I had never heard of it prior to January this year. And then I watched a video titled Soul Contracts, the life we chose before birth, And for those of you who don't believe in that, how can you call yourself a Christian and believe in the Messiah choosing to come to earth to fulfill the purpose which he fulfilled? How can you say you believe in that, but then you don't believe in soul contracts? His was an agreement to come to earth and do something. That's a soul contract. Now, let's get into it. I'm going to pretty much read two passages of scripture for you guys, give you a little bit of commentary on that, and wrap this up, all right? So, the importance of staying the course and watching your words while you do it. Now, this first scripture example comes from the book of Matthew, chapter 26, beginning at verse 36 on through verse 39. Then cometh the Messiah with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and said unto the disciples, Sit ye here, while I go and pray yonder. Now y'all know I like the King James Version. That's my preferred one. That's the one I grew up on. Anyway, verse 37. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then saith he unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. And he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. Okay. Let this cup, it says here he prayed, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Let's look at this in two pieces. The first, remember, Prayer, you guys have been watching my videos for a while. You know that I always say this. Prayer is not a request. It is an activation. So when he says, let this cup pass from me, he actually began the process of activating the undoing of what he came here to do, his soul contract. Now, those of you that say, oh, he was requesting when he said, my Father, let this cup pass from me. Well, let's slide over to Genesis chapter 1. Why don't we do that? I don't even need to do that. Y'all know what it says. It says, in the beginning, God said, let there be light. Okay? Was he asking or was he activating? All right. Now that we got that out of the way, now that y'all understand it, when you read these passages of scripture and you see people, or namely in this example, the Messiah saying, let this cup pass from me, he wasn't requesting that. He was activating it. He was activating it. It was basically an activation. So he called in, he said, my Father, let this cup pass from me. Push the button. But because he understood the power of words, and he understood that for the cup to pass from him. Now, what cup was he passing? What was he talking about, you guys? When you read further back up in that chapter, he was sorrowful. Why was he sorrowful? He knew that the hour was upon him for him to begin massive suffering, which would result in him shedding, his blood being shed and him giving up his life at the hands of people that he was really more powerful than. I mean, he could have spoken a word and basically just vaporized anybody he wanted to, but that wasn't in the contract. All right. So let's go back. Why was he saying, let this cup pass from me? He saw what was ahead. He felt it. He energetically felt the wagon circling in on him. He felt the forces closing in on him. And he knew that he had to surrender himself to these forces of darkness so that they could put him through mass suffering. But it was for a reason. And I'm not going to preach that. Y'all know the story. Okay. So he began the process of activating the undoing of that when he said, oh, my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. All right. But then he stopped it because he understood the power of words. He understood the ability that we have to create simply with our words. So he immediately put on the brakes. He said, whoa, time out. Not as I will, but as thou wilt. So what he was saying is, not as my flesh is requesting right now, or not as my flesh wants, but as the Spirit wants, as you want, as what is in my contract. What do you want me to do? What did you send me here to do? What did I sign up for? Not what I want at this moment, but what you will. And what you will was already written before I arrived. So let's proceed on with that. So what he did was he did a prayer and then a counter prayer, all right? He said, let me activate this. And he said, nah, let me deactivate that. I got a mission I came here for. I can't quit now. He understood the importance of staying the course. Where would any of us be if he had decided to deactivate, or if he had decided to go ahead and activate the deactivation of his contract? Where would we be right now? Where would our redemption be? And this isn't a redemption type or salvation, if you will. Y'all go look at my channel, Exploring Salvation. Y'all know I don't even subscribe to this whole salvation membership club that the church presents today. It's not a membership club. Salvation has always been a physical act, okay? Anyway, where would we be today? Would we be able to be rescued? Would we be able to be redeemed had he deactivated that? And for those of y'all that don't believe in what I'm talking about, this has nothing to do with Christianity, all right? This has nothing to do with Christianity. We know what Christianity was. We know the control mechanism that Christianity was as presented by the Romans who invented it, all right? So anyway, what did he do? He understood, as is popular right now, trending, he understood the assignment, all right? So he also understood the power of his own words. So he said, you know what? He immediately reversed that and said, not as I will, but as thou wilt. Never mind, forget it. This is my flesh talking. Let me go back with my spirit. Let me go back with what I came here to do. I know what I came here to do. Let's proceed on course, all right? So he said, oh, my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me, nevertheless, but as thou wilt. That is an illustration from the Messiah, all right, himself, of the importance of staying the course and the importance of watching your words. You have to watch your words, people. You have to. Your words have power, all right? My wife gets on me about that all the time because I say stuff in jest like, all right, man, I wasn't really meaning that. She's like, no, you got to be careful with your words. She said, especially you, Matt. She said, I've never seen anybody manifest the way you do. So you have to be careful of what comes out of your mouth. That's coming from my wife. My mom tells me that too. She used to tell me that. She used to tell all of us that when we were kids. She said, watch what comes out of your mouth. Watch your words. The importance of staying the course and watching your words en route to staying the course, all right? When you got something to do, stay on it. When you got something to do, stay on it. How do you stay on it? You don't speak the opposite of what it is that you're supposed to do. All right? Now, one last example here, and that is the what. Let me give you the why, all right? Let me give you the why, how even when things get tough, you have to stay the course. Here's why you have to stay the course. This is an example written in his letter to the Romans by the Apostle Paul. This comes from Romans chapter 8, verse 18. Romans 8 and 18. All right, some of y'all might say 818 is an angel number. Y'all look that stuff up, all right? I'm not gonna do that today. That's not what this lesson is about. Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. All right? There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train. All right? There is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. All right? There is a reward for you fulfilling your purpose. All right? And the suffering that you got to go through to get to that is in no way, shape, or form to be comparable to the glory which shall be revealed. Look at the guy who's skinny and frail his whole life, and he gets tired of the way he looks, and he says, you know what, man, I'm going to transform my body. Think about the immense pain and suffering he goes through in the course of transforming his body from skinny to diesel. He puts his body under a lot of pain and pressure, a lot of weight, all right? He changes his diet. To him, it may be suffering because it's like, you know what, this ain't comfortable. But I know what the end looks like. And so he undergoes this metamorphosis that was painful in parts. A lot of us go through things in life because it is a part of building us. It is a part of building us and getting us to where it is that we're supposed to be, where we're supposed to be, end up. Our soul contract, all right? You have to go through something to get to something, all right? All right, think about all of the great athletes that train so hard, the runners that train and put their bodies through pain to push a little bit further and say, hey, how much more can I get out of this thing? If I want to be a champion, this is what it's going to require. I'm reminded of the example of Pete Sampras, world champion tennis player back in the 1990s into the early 2000s. Pete Sampras, when he won his final U.S. Open, I believe it was in 2002, they asked him, hey, Pete, you're back. You made it back. You're back at the top. Pete had suffered for a while. He had fallen down. People started beating him. Pete was one of the most dominant players in history with that serve and volley tennis he played, for those of you that understand tennis. Pete Sampras was on a tennis court what Mike Tyson was in a boxing ring. Later followed his boxing, exchanging blows a la Andre Agassi or whatever. Pete Sampras was going in there straight for the knockout. Serve and volley. Bam! Big 125, 135 mile an hour serve. He's coming into the net behind it, putting it away in one or two more shots. He's like, I don't have time to play with y'all. I'm not going to box y'all back here from the baseline. We can get this point over with. He was Mike Tyson with a tennis racket in his hand. But what happened to him was he dominated for so long, he began to get tired. And he's like, okay, I've done this. I've done this so many times before. So he fell off. Guys he probably would have beaten 3-4 years earlier, they started beating him. And he hit a low point in his career. But you know what? He said, I know why I'm at this low point. Let me get up and do this just one more time to show them who I am. And Pete Sampras did that. He did that. He found himself in a tournament where he wasn't the number one seed, but he fought his way to the top. And he played the guy who was at the top of the game at that time, Andre Agassi. He beat him in an epic match. And the sports critics, all of the writers, hey, Pete's back. Pete, what's next for you? Pete's like, I think I'm done. What do you mean you're done? You're back. We just saw the old Pete out there. And the thing that Pete said that stuck out with me, and I'll wrap this up. Pete said, I dominated for 6 years straight. I had a run. I had an unbelievable run. I believe it was 6 years. And he said, I know what level of training it takes to play at that level. I know what I've got to put my body through in order to maintain that championship level and form. I've done that already, and I'm no longer interested in doing that indefinitely. So because I'm not interested in doing what I know it's going to take for me to continue to play at this level, there's no point in me doing it. So you see, he knew the suffering he had to go through in order for him to be a champion. But look at the glory that was revealed in him while he was putting his body through those paces to be a champion. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. So some of us came here to do extraordinary things, all right? But en route to doing those extraordinary things, sometimes we got to go through some low points. Sometimes we got to go through some low points in our valley. Some valleys in our journey. Sometimes we got to get through some low points. We got to go through some thickets. Sometimes we got to walk through some deserts. Sometimes we got to endure pain and heartache. But I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. That is why you have to stay the course. Because when you sign up to do something tough, you get a reward that is what is it? I forget the word, but a reward that is worthy of the suffering that you went through. If you sign up to do something tough, you get a greater reward. Think about these sporting events like figure skating and platform diving and gymnastics and such. They have what's called a degree of difficulty. When you pull off a stunt or something that has a high degree of difficulty, you're going to get higher points than somebody who pulls off a stunt that has a lower degree of difficulty. You can't reward a person that went through something with a higher degree of difficulty the same way you reward someone who went through something with a lower degree. Anybody technically with the skill set can do this thing that's got a lower degree of difficulty, but that high degree of difficulty, Simone Biles. She dominated because she was pulling off stunts that nobody else could do. High degree of difficulty. All right? So that's all I want to leave y'all with today. The importance of staying the course. You got to stay the course because there's a great reward, especially when you go through something tough. However tough your life was, whatever you're going through right now, remember the Messiah's example. He said, you know what? Man, this sucks. I don't think I want to do this anymore. Let this bitter cup pass from me. But then he said, nah, I can't cop out now. I've come too far. I can't cop out now. I got people counting on me. I'm counting on me. Let me finish this work. And look at the glory that was revealed in him after it. 3 days later, he said, I'm back, y'all. I told y'all, they can't stop me. Whew. That was rough. I don't want to go through it again, but guess what? I don't have to go through it again because I did it. Think about that, soul contracts. If you signed up to do something, I mentioned this in one of my videos, 1 or 2 videos ago. Edge of Tomorrow, watch that movie. Edge of Tomorrow, the 2014 movie Edge of Tomorrow, where, Tom Cruise is a futuristic soldier and they're fighting against these robots or whatever. He kept dying and coming back because he didn't complete the mission. And each time he kept making mistakes. So he was like, let me see if I can piece this together and remember the mistake I made in my last life so that I can get a little bit further. If I can keep getting further, then I can get to the apex. I can get to the point where I actually can turn this thing around and win, so I don't have to go through this suffering anymore. He figured it out. That was a very poignant movie. It really was. It illustrated soul concepts. It illustrated eternal concepps. All right? And I know some people ain't into the Hollywood thing, but Hollywood hides these themes in movies, and a lot of times we miss them because we're too busy being entertained. So, 2014 movie, Edge of Tomorrow, starring Tom Cruise. Check that out if you've never seen it. All right? And I'm not here promoting for them. I'm just saying that's a great example to follow. All right? So, guys, that's about all I have here. Just wanted you to check that out. I wanted you guys, because this message is for somebody. Each of us has been through something in our lives, or we're going through something now. But think about what's on the other side if we can get through it. He said, not my will, but thy will. Not my will, but thy will be done. That's the way it's paraphrased in a lot of circles in some songs. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. That's verse 39 of Matthew chapter 26. Remember that when you're going through it. You might feel like quitting, but remember, I reckon, Romans 8:18, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time, what you're going through right now, are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Share it. Sharing is caring. So if you care, share. All right. And again, if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I thank you guys for watching today. There's some links in the description box below to I'm an author, and I love it when people read what I write. So if you want to read the free stuff, you can check out my blog at www.mdtalford.com. And if you want to read my what I have for sale for Fear to Faith, the Survivor Story, you can get that at my website. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it in Kindle and iBooks. You can also get it on audiobook. And for those of you in the tennis community, if you're watching this and you're a tennis player, specifically a league tennis player, a tournament tennis player, high school tennis player, even college tennis player, you can glean some nice nuggets from my second book, Captain's Mate. And then of course there's Stuck in an Elevator. And let me tell you something, that you'll learn a lot about yourself through that work of fiction. I'm here to tell you, you'll learn a lot about you and a lot about other people. So that's about all I have, folks. Thanks for watching, and have a great evening, day, morning, afternoon, whatever time you're watching this, whatever time of year you're watching this, whatever day you're watching this. Thanks, guys. I love you. Tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You show it.